Yo, greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. I greet you in the words that I always do. A BB for Hodier. So it's been a minute. Um, New growth, new evolution. I ain't gonna say I feel. I know it's the evolution. I just turned 40 on the 15th, so that was what's this? 2 days ago. Um, and I call it 4.0, even that, and that's what my Instagram is. I speak the truth 4.0. And the 4.0, it represents like an level of advancement. Because that's how it is. We should and as I've been on kind of like on my journey, I figure like that's the thing that we have to be. We have to continuously elevate. We have to continuously advance. We have to advance in our knowledge. And there's some things that I feel like is wrong in this quote unquote conscious community. Is like there's a lot of like stagnation. And these are part of these are stages on your journey. And it's okay. But the thing is, as I'm saying, to not stay there if I'm making sense. So we have to continuously elevate. Um, and I entitled this video "Love Thyself," because there's a dope sister that I follow, and you guys should follow her on a sister African Unification, and she was having a pretty good discussion, and it was saying to the nature of like, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, but who is the who is who's to blame like in abusive or quote unquote toxic relationship or a cheating relationship, the person that's doing the cheating, the person that's being cheated on, or both. And there was an overwhelming majority of numbers that said both. And that shows like to what I'm saying, like in stages we are advancing as a people. We are starting to understand. Because what happens is we have a tendency just to load up on one side and make it seem like it's just only that person when both of us. Um, and like I said, I always, my thing is I speak the truth. So I always speak because if you go back and listen to some of my other videos, I was saying like how well do we know these quote unquote personalities that get up here and purport to be our leader or misleaders. If we understand like the young pharaohs, the polites, the Louis Farrakhan's, the whoever, the black misleadership. And how well do you know people? And just for us to understand that I was in a pretty good long relationship, and it was toxic. It was abusive. And a lot of times what brothers don't admit because there's this whole wave that's going of like as I said, like the whiny black, black males, they're just whiny. And it's like we have to learn how to understand the totality, the entirety of something, if it makes sense what I'm saying. We can't just always look in like these little sub pockets and just stay there. We have to open up the lens. And it was abusive because, for a long time she was, I dealt with infidelity. And I think sometimes when we always look at it, because this is such a patriarchal world, so I think where this gay manosphere and all of this stuff is going to where you don't even have like the luxury as a black man to compliment a black woman or feel any kind of love or affection for a black woman outside of like sexual barbaric, European thought. That makes sense. But it's like we're being engineered into loving every female but our own. And it's due to the conditioning because, you know, what kept me in that, back to that, and I don't want to get away from my point, but what kept me in that was, low self-esteem, which is why I said this is part of my 4.0. And I'm still learning myself. I think we get to this point where we feel like we've mastered ourselves in 7 years. No, life is as long as we got here. So as long as we're here, we should be continuously growing. We should be elevating. Me, one of my close brothers, we always say, don't be married to your ideology. And what we mean by that is because sometimes, you can be wrong in your ideology, but you want to stay there because your emotion is draped in your ideology. You get what I'm saying? So we have to try not to do that, and that's a part of that. Learning to love yourself. I'm 40 and I'm still learning to love myself. Because see, here's the kicker. The way they're conditioning us. My sisters don't have it as bad, but I am around a lot of sisters that come across bitter because they're angry with their experiences with black men. So there's this totality, because anything we do involving us, it's a totality, it's a whole. But in a lot of cases, things that involve others or Europeans, it's case by case. So it's always like black men ain't ish, and I'm also trying to clean up my language. But if sometimes some stuff slip, it's a part of my 4.0 that I say. But the totality of black men ain't ish. And so many of you sisters have been scarred and scorned by, brothers that just really played with your heart and left you hanging. But what happens is, with that negative energy, you carry it over. Because, really explain this. Why do we like the negative, toxic energy that comes to us? And I'm guilty of it too. Because this is what kept me in that situation. Because sometimes nobody, and back to my point, nobody talks about the black men that are there. The black men without a non-emotional dumping on all women, because it's not all sisters. It's some sisters. It could be a large amount. But it's not all of my sisters. It's not all of the brothers. So, I kept myself in this situation because I really loved her children. She had one he was a baby when I met him. So nobody talks about the black men that nurture and stay there and help, to where the no good black men left. Nobody talks about, because is it that you see it, ladies? And you just don't pay it no attention because maybe this may be a friend or something? Or do you never see these type of guys in your lifetime? Because I think that's what we have to do. We have to have this non-emotional, back to this not being married to your emotion, this non-emotional conversation. We can't keep having these Kevin Samuels bad bitch but the baddest female diva mentality, because that, in essence, that's what this high value man crap is. It's diva energy. So we can't go into this kind of mentality of to where we're not gonna like our women because we have bad experiences. We have horrible experience with people that have unresolved issues from their previous things because you have unresolved issues from your previous thing. That's why I think we should take time with ourselves. Because a lot of times what we do, this is how this stuff happens because we are keeping a perpetual cycle of heartbreak. To where when you meet people, yes, I had my flaws, but I'm around a group of brothers, and this is why I say at the evolving that I'm around good black men. I'm not around perfect black men, but I'm around good black men. I'm around good African men. I'm around good African fathers. So therefore, brothers, we got to get in a different environment of who we hang with. Because you're guilty by your if you hanging around these man fan Kevin Samuels type, that's gonna be your outlook on our women. He tells you that your women, only your women, are undesirable. And sisters, I can understand. See, this is what I'm saying. I can find truth in anything. I can find and say, I can see where a person. People fail to realize it's how you're delivering it. Because he ain't so mighty, and so, all he do is tell the truth. Because he gets very gingerly with even mentioning Jews. He always says, I don't want to upset the algorithms. And that old diva girl man voice of his. So all of this is birthed from unresolved issues. Because they had an experience like I had. Or several experiences like I had. And what's so deep that we don't even understand movies when we look at it? Like The Matrix. We don't really understand The Matrix. I'm going to tell you what I mean. We don't understand The Matrix because everybody thinks that they are the one. And to a degree, we are all the ones. But there's this process skipping. Everybody just wants to be experts overnight. But what we don't even understand about The Matrix is that when the agent catches you, what does he do? He conforms you into him, correct? Right? He transforms. You are just like the world, right? You think like the world. Then you say you're an individual. And this is a lot of this also is not Amos Wilson. But he just made it make sense to me. So it's a gift that I want to share to the world. So you've been conformed. Because sisters, you might have had a good guy in your life that because we let attraction with our eyes rule everything. We let attraction with our eyes rule everything. Everybody. So it's not a pointing the finger. Everybody. Meaning that, so to keep it real, how many of you have had good guys, but he might not have been the tallest. He might not have been the strongest. He might not have been, whatever it is. Most sexual experience. Most athletic. Whatever. And for whatever reason, maybe you just didn't feel the chemistry because that was something I had to understand too, being around females. Sometimes a female just doesn't have chemistry for you. But have you ever had a brother that was just there for you? See, I want y'all, what these old whiny, girly men can't understand. That how many times have you had guys that you knew? I saw one of the realest posts by a sister. And it said, sister, ladies, we abandon, or we basically paraphrasing again, we abandon or leave behind men that would make us wives for dudes that made us baby mamas. And you know what I'm saying? That hit when I read that, because a lot of times I think that's what we enjoy about these type of, whether it's Shahrazad Ali, who I just don't agree with a lot of times, but I can find truth in everything. Whether it's Shahrazad Ali, whether it's Kevin Samuels, whether it's Derek Jack, anybody that just panders to one side. We got to look at this in totality. We got to look at how we were socialized. Because I talk a lot about culture, so we have to understand the socialization process within culture. How did you get to be socialized? How did you get to be introduced to sex? How were you introduced, for us that was in the 80s and 90s, to like drug dealing? So society, or let's just say white America. White America socially engineers. This is what I talk about the Tavistock Institute. See, this is why I can appreciate names like Steve Coakley. Instead of us always trying to act like Umar Johnson, like everything, all of that is. Sometimes people are just good talkers. They have the gift of gab. But what Steve Coakley was able to bring, and that's a name that people should really look up. Steve, and shout out to his son, Steve Coakley Jr. But what Steve Coakley was able to bring was the other side of that chessboard of like the who's doing it. Because a lot of times I think we get off on information and like the Bilderbergs, the Illuminati, the Tavistock Institute, the Boule. But what we have to understand is how each one of these brackets or each one of these tentacles on this octopus, what that tentacle does. So in the socialization process, you have to look at like the socially engineering, how we're being socially engineered to accept transgender children. Look into the Tavistock Institute and transgender. See, we got to understand these thoughts that we think, the free will and the free thought, sometimes it ain't so free. A lot of times it ain't free if it's being given to you by your enemy. So, and I know it's like, this is talking about loving myself, but it is. But all of this is interwoven in what I'm talking about. The socialization process of how we think the way we think. Sometimes you have to go around and explain to get the equation to understand how you got to that. So just like we as brothers were socially engineered or conditioned to see one type is beautiful, like when I did that video about Twister fat shaming Gabrielle Sidibe, because in that and a lot of people what I call meme conscious. But in that meme, what it does is tear down anything that has good character. So in this meme that Twister took a shot, because all of this is interwoven in how we think the way we think. Why every, as Mama Frances Cress Wilson say, every woman wants the tall, dark, and handsome man. But ladies, how many tall, dark, handsome men did you have that left you heartbroken? Just think about what I'm saying. It's not a personal thing, because a lot of times our mates isn't for us. It's for other people's approval. And so all of this has something to do with what I'm talking about, learning to love thyself. And what I mean, and I'm gonna get to the point, because we near. But then I miss my audience, so I just kind of want to take my time. Because I feel like sometimes we always in a rush. But all of this is part of my journey. And once I understood the socialization process, it helped me to be a little less angry. And that's what those other brothers need to really realize: the how did we get into this? Yeah, throat dry. But how did we get into this? Instead of just getting mad, and we got into, and a lot of times we're picking our mates based on what others will think, how others will think you look together. And so a lot of times when you don't love yourself, and it's no stranger, I try to talk about it more, but I want to be seen more as just a man with cerebral palsy. Because it speaks for me, y'all. And sometimes it causes me to self-sabotage, or it causes me to overdo things. And that's part of my 4.0 of learning myself. Because we have to identify this socialization process, and we have to work on ourselves. Sometimes we may not need to be with somebody else until we've dealt with that last person or that first person. And it's not about, trying to slander nobody, but, I learned to heal through therapy. This is like therapy, because I think a lot of times, brothers, we kind of lash out, with our bad experiences. But I think we need to really deal with a lot of this stuff. Just learning that maybe I had to take my time. Because there's also, I believe in in the somebody for everybody theory. Maybe my wife is on the continent, and I haven't completed a necessary stage to get to her. But there are certain things I need to do, like just not leather my hair. Things I didn't appreciate because I did, and I stayed because of my condition. And I felt like, well, maybe nobody else would want me, but I wasn't treated with any type of value. I was always treated like I was the option. You have no idea how that makes a black man that rides for black women feel. But I couldn't be conformed like that agent that I was talking about earlier in the Matrix. Because now I become like every black man spitting the same rhetoric. Women ain't this, blah, blah, blah. You the old 40, 50-year-old dude still talking about women ain't this. No, you ain't this at this point in your life. I couldn't allow myself to be conformed because I was forever grateful to her for those, for those experiences with those boys. Those boys got to see, no matter what else, she could go on to do good in life and get married or whatever. But I know how I contributed, because what I tell you brothers and you young brothers, that you are always a reference point. You're always going to be, you two sisters, you're always going to be, that sister is always going to be a reference point for me. When I was with her, I did this. And a lot of times that's why you shouldn't be ready, because you still have that trauma. Because I think, I think sometimes we overuse that's coughing. I think we sometimes, and no, it ain't corona. It'd be like, y'all, every time somebody calls, they're like, oh, you got, no. But sometimes, and then also speaking. But yeah, just, sometimes I think we oversimplify trauma. And I'm traumatized, but sometimes we're in a society that is induced in trauma. It constantly breeds trauma. It, psychic violence. Speaking of Nana Amos Wilson again, and get Blueprint for Black Power. You should, for serious readers, because a lot of people have this book, and this book is a real jewel to read. But he talks about Psychic violence, and that's another one because I'll be here with y'all for 2 hours talking about, isolated conversations, but just the psychic violence or the psychic violence that induced on you. So we're in a society, and we're talking about toxic men and toxic women, but we're in a society that breeds that toxic behavior. That people pride themselves on not feeling and being cold hearted and not giving an F. So I'm working on my language, y'all. Not giving an F. Who got the most knowledge? And I was guilty. Some of those things, not all. But through my elevation and still learning, still dealing. Like, this woman had no love for me when my mother was dying. You know how that make a black man feel? So you carry these things. And I'm sure people have stories worse than mine. You're made to be felt like. These are all factors of why sometimes I think I didn't love myself, because I can't speak for people. Because what happens with like, and another word that gets overused is narcissistic personality, but that's a real thing, because we have to deal with the projection of the narcissist. People that like to flip stuff around and make it seem like it was you. So it makes you feel like, yeah, maybe you are. Because a lot of times, I always say I'm not an insecure man, but I have insecurities. And a lot of people didn't even understand what I meant when I said that. But I think, and I can't speak for all brothers, and I won't. But with me, it was, when somebody cheats you or cheat on you, that's exactly what it does. It cheats you. It robs you. Because nobody likes to talk about how the person got there. Everybody likes to just talk about the current product of that person. You get what I'm saying? Nobody wants to talk about when that man came into this and he was trusting. And when he was trusting, that person was cheating. So now, and through that, I'm gonna walk you through it, and I hope I make sense. And with that person cheating, and you were calling that person because that person told you that they were going to do something. Let's say that person said, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And because when you come, I believe that we should come into relationships, and we should we should believe a person at face value, because we can't take this. I can't take this into another thing and say this woman is going to do what that woman did, or this man is going to do what that man did. And life experiences has taught us this now. So this is what's so hard. This is why you have to really learn to love yourself and know yourself. Because, you can know yourself and not love yourself. So, those are like isolated categories. Loving yourself. And I didn't. I love this lady, female, more than I love myself. And like, that's why I say it's therapeutic, because it's truthful. A lot of times we're afraid to be truthful with ourselves because we're so arrogant. We're so prideful. We carry around all these things. There's a song that I love, and I was just listening to it. It's by Denise Williams, and it's Free. And that's one of the, I don't care, when I put that song on, my spirit feels free. For that 1 second, I feel that's the power of music. You should give a person, the benefit of the doubt in the beginning because you can't bring that energy because same thing, you're trying to establish the same thing that you're not like that last experience. So this sister was also saying, back to my original point, I'm not, like I said, it's just gonna be a long video because sometimes, you have to like really set the table. And this sister, and there was this one sister that called in, not called in, she chimed in and she was saying that, cheating is kind of like, she wasn't saying it was okay, but she was trying to kind of make the case that cheating can be impulsive, that things can just happen. And no, cheating is calculated. But when a person doesn't love you, they will do anything to you. It's not always about respect because, love is another word we throw around. We have love for a person, but you cannot love a person and cheat on them. You cannot. You cannot love a woman and abuse her. You cannot. You can have love for her. So mental abuse in some cases I would say is worse than physical because you have that residue. But physical abuse also induces, mental, because as they're hitting you, they're justifying it, just like their slave master. So a lot of us walking around with, quote unquote consciousness, or a lot of us walking around. This is what I'm saying. You can know yourself, but not love yourself. It's not a. Y'all get what I'm saying? Because the white establishment is predicated and it runs and it thrives based off of you not loving yourself. You can't love yourself, and the white establishment remains in power because the jig would be up. So this is why they have to socially engineer all of these type of female images, which is why Twister can fat shame Gabrielle Sidibe and use what's the sister name, Bernice Burgos, who's very beautiful. But Gabrielle Sidibe is beautiful in another way. To somebody, she has a white man, and it's like we have to kind of learn to have compassion because what's happening is making us be we're being monsters to people. We gotta be stern. Anybody know me, they know I'm a stern, hard, no nonsense brother. But I have love and compassion. And that's what, when you're turned into an agent, that you lose. To be with something, to be in something, and the person has no compassion for you, even when you're the most heartbroken. It's the society has to breed people that behave that way, and it's in mass numbers. This is why these little girly pockets, back to this is being established because it's designed to keep everybody, And what's crazy about the statuses of the black women that aren't getting married is because, in a sense, some of the things that they think, that they're looking for. I'm not gonna say what they're worth, because I think that's funky of us to judge to tell a person, judge a person by their worth. Who are we to tell a person what they're worth? But you got to be realistic. You have to be realistic. Sometimes what you love may not love you. I pull beautiful women. But let's say last one, I'll say pretty, because beautiful is when your insides match. Beautiful is when we understand that we are mirror images of each other, masculine and feminine, divine energy. And to hurt that feminine energy is to hurt that divine energy, masculine energy, or to hurt that divine masculine energy is to hurt that divine feminine. You get what I'm saying? And because we're looking, because we feel what people worth, and we're running around telling people what worth. People don't know what they're worth. I know I have worth, but I'm still learning. Because here's the thing: when you have a condition, everybody loves them. For us to have, I got a sharp mind. I got a sharp mind. And I have to be real. I was judged based on I wouldn't be able to function in quote unquote relationship. I have my own. It's not, and not no knock to nobody, but it's not government assistance. No knock to nobody. Hey, get it how you get it. I'm just saying, what is a valuable man? I'm growing as a father. I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. I'm growing as a father because I'm around other good black fathers, other good black men. But who helps the black man that help raise children and have them snatched away? How does that black man feel? How does that black man feel? Who cares about how that? And it's like if you have a condition, sometimes nobody has pity for nobody. And I don't want pity, but nobody has love for you. Because a lot of times, and it's just my experience. Like I said, I'm not gonna project mine off on until I say, okay, now multiple brothers are saying this, but I'm gonna deal with my experiences. I'm gonna deal with my experience. Females, because I'm able to, and sometimes I have a good heart. Sometimes I can be overboard, especially like at one point in my journey. I was, um, Khalid Muhammad. I can't say times two because that's a great. But sometimes you're so mad, and what we have to understand is that work with a black man when he wake up out of that, because you want your black man to wake up angry and say, "Hey, these white folks been killing us. They're still killing us." And sometimes I probably can overdo things. But in that compassion, because 9 times out of 10, I'm hoping I'm making sense. The person doesn't want to really deal with you. They like you. They love your articulation. They love that you're able to do things that Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome can't do. And there's no knock to that, because that was also because you're being judged against it. It's like playing your brother against you. It's like the Cain and Abel syndrome. Because you're constantly putting my brother as this, and you're putting me down. Nobody ever says they want the short guy. I'm gonna show you how Hollywood plays on these images. Look at how they market Kevin Hart. Look at how they marketed Kevin Hart and Think Like a Man, who they paired him up with. How they made a buffoon out of him. So therefore, just like, and because we got to understand, like these silent weapons, would that be like psychological warfare tools? How they get you to demonize the revolutionary image, or the quote unquote pro black, whatever you want to categorize it. They did it in Don't Be a Menace with the my brother, what he's calling his milk of magnesia or something. My milk of magnesia, and they have him selling out with the white girl, and when he talks pro black. They did it also in Martin when Tommy, because I watch TV. I think a lot of times we always gotta give disclaimers as conscious people because we're professional, conscious people, and we say, "I don't watch TV." No, this is the one eye. This is the all showing eye because it show every damn thing. And y'all don't steal my stuff, but no, the all showing eye, the all showing eye. So, through this, they're able to project these images. I'll give my brother a call back. They're able to project these images. They're able to do it in the episode of Martin when Tommy is supposed to get a job with this white girl, Aquanetta. And they have the overly militant brother, and they like, and then too, they always kind of make it over the top. I'm gonna get this black paint and go out here and paint all the white snow because it wants to make you laugh at our pointing out European genocide or European degeneracy, European madness, menticide. They did it in their living color with Damon Wayans. The flagellation of the truncation in my hypotenuse, and you have the hat because it wants you to hate that image. So I'm a fiery one. Some of y'all videos, and I'm learning, and I mess up. But as Big Bro Tupac said, but I don't come back ignorant. I mess up because I'm 40, so I mess up. But my heart is true. So I can be corrected, just like I can correct people because that's balance on the scale of my eye. And I have people around me that corrects me. So a lot of things keep you balanced because you don't want nobody to tell you when you're wrong. We pander. And we tell people it's okay. Sometimes you got to be the friend to tell them that that's not okay to treat that woman like that. Or to treat that man like that. But we've been induced through rap music. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and grits. And I gotta give it to y'all like that. Look at what it told us. Look at in Dr. Dre's video when they degrade the woman and pour beer on her. They would never show you doing that to a Jew. Jew. Just because little girly man is afraid. They would never show you that. Over and over and over. Because somebody be smart and say, oh, here's time right here. Because like I said, we treat theirs as isolated incidents. We don't understand the collective of white men don't like they women. Because you in the white man system, you're in the European system. He's not in yours. He tells you who's going to be president. You think you tell him? He tells you who's going to be president. And I'll show and I show you. He tells you you're going to take this vaccine. We got to understand what's going on. And sometimes, I probably was overzealous in giving my message, but this is fire, y'all. They're burning up everything. European degeneracy. Behold the pale horse. The cracker told you in that. It's predicated on you not loving yourself. It constantly shows black men not to love. But I'm still trying to find my worth. Because a lot of times I feel like, man, I ain't gonna find. Just keep it real, because you gotta be real. Man, I ain't gonna never find nobody. Because that's what that voice tells you. Because every woman only sees my condition. Very few that really don't and see me. And guess what? When I do it, I mess it up. Because guess what? I either don't like them or I like you too much. So when I like you too much, I can do too much. But like I said, because sometimes they can't even see me, but in my head, because I've accepted what people told me, so I can sometimes project my low self-esteem off. This is something we gotta understand. You can project your low self-esteem off on others. But it's on a constant put down because just like I said, when you with somebody that just love just just not loving you. When people are ashamed of you and don't want to really take you, these are real time things. This ain't like the movies when they show you the person with the disability and everybody hoists them up on his shoulder and let it look. It doesn't go down like that. I'm thankful I found. That's why I have you know, I have stuff that say like reading saved my life because you think about the person that has the condition. You think about the person that has muscular dystrophy. I hope I say that right. You think about the person I have cerebral palsy. You think about the person that has cerebral palsy, and there are different levels to it. You think about the person that because there's many that's deaf. My son is blind. My son went blind. He wasn't perfectly quote unquote normal. So I've seen a lot in my lifetime, y'all. But I'm a man. I stood strong. I lost my mama. My mama was my homie. And that was the first woman that taught me certain things because, like I said, back to this socialization. I'm not losing my point. I just hope that I can make this message make sense to y'all. How you're socialized. I wasn't socialized with a unloving mother. My mom gave hugs. My mom gave kisses. My mom shined me up. You know how you had them old school parents that Vaseline you down and yeah. My mom loved on me and my brother. I lost my brother. I lost my father. So when you know what I'm saying, a lot of times when you tell a person, because I told this person that I have abandonment issues. And the narcissist, it will tell you how the narcissist plays you. It says, well, you had those things before I got here because it wants to never take blame. And I had mixed feelings. Because sometimes I always got to be the nice guy. Sometimes I get, well, and like a lot of things we got to reassess what we say. Because in this not loving yourself, let me show you how we play a part in it. When we constantly tell a generation of black boys that grow up to be black men that nice guys finish last, that means you nice, you lose. So think about it. Now, it might be some truth to that statement. Now, I'm gonna marinate on that for a minute as I take more water. It might be some truth in that statement, right? But when you tell somebody this over and over, who wants to lose? Who wants to be a loser? So why you got a lot of these wannabe dudes, or why you got a lot of these dudes that just hate because they once was nice guys and y'all kept telling them they was losing. So he conformed like that agent. Mr. Anderson. Is what the white man said. He conformed. He let them take him over. She let it take her over. She conformed. She took the vaccine or the jab. He took the vaccine. Took the vaccine. And you became like the rest of the world. And he said, the next female I get, I'm a dog this broad. And it birthed. more like wet gremlins. Pop, pop, like wet gremlins. But I wouldn't conform. The thing is, here's the crazy part that when you still care, but you realize that you got to move on because it don't love you. But it's how we move, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you have to use yourself. You can't let it conform you. You can't let it turn you, brothers. We gotta have boundaries. We gotta know to love myself. Man, I used to didn't even twist my hair. I'm just learning. Like there's certain things I had to learn. I like mine. Sometimes I have a struggle beard. But it's growing. Shout out to my cousin, and he's great and educates me on that. But you conform to society because you told this person over and over that because he has niceness, or because you tell this female back to this, and there's a point where I keep talking about Twister and Gabrielle Centipede, because in the thing with Bernice Burgos, and I like how she had Gabrielle Centipede's back. Okay, example A was, or B, whichever one you see it on this meme. But one side was Gabrielle Centipede. Now look how they demonize the character. It was like she's loyal. She cooks. She makes good money. She cares about you. Look at how they demonize. Social engineering, y'all. The thing that's fine doesn't have a job. Got multiple kids. Sleeps on couch. That basically doesn't do nothing. You gotta have money. These are the ones that Kevin Samuels was saying high value men, high value women. But the value is predicated on European energy. That's how he a goofy. It's predicated on European thought. What you got in your bank account, that ain't the realness of life. Y'all don't buy into that. It's in the truth. Can you teach these children to be warriors? Understand who's trying to kill them. Don't overdo it because these babies have to learn. You gotta make it fun for the babies. I'm thankful because throughout this journey, I found that sister was the first sister to tell me that I could be a professor. It wasn't all bad, but when it was bad, it was bad. Sometimes we just want to dump it. We just want to say, oh, it was this person's fault. Oh, this. Because we don't want to know. You got to deal with it. Remember when I was talking about deal with the video? Because also why I'm trying to clean my language up because, and sometimes I always say, I'm a conduit for the ancestors. So sometimes you may get, I can never be these people, first of all. But I'm saying just their type of energy. You get a Malcolm X. Sometimes you can get Tupac. Because they were all Khalid Muhammad, whoever. Because they were all influential in the shaping of me as a man. Pac was the first black man I heard as a young teenage boy, say things about political prisoners. This is why the socialization process of what we let our children listen to. This is the socialization process of these people that are our children idol. And then this is how we let these celebrities get away with non-accountability. Because accountability, y'all, we can't be afraid of that word. Accountability make you get your stuff right. Accountability make you realize that, I called my partner up, one of my cousins. I think it was my cousin. And I called him up and I said, you know what, bro? I said, I think I'm the problem. I said, I ain't the whole problem. But I think I think I'm part of the problem as to why. Because sometimes, like I said, I can project and obey that sister run. But I obeyed it, ladies. It's just sometimes, like I said, I'm so chill and loving at heart. But people didn't know how to love it back. So when you coming from people that don't love you or don't know how to display you or don't know how to, be proud of having you in their life, it make you feel bad about yourself. For real. I keep getting away from that. But it's just it's so much, y'all. It's so much. Um, I don't know. You know, I'm a fighter. And that's the thing. I got a lot of good things coming because what I do, I constantly push. But I'm learning to enjoy life. I'm learning to enjoy life. I'm the freedom of the mind because they locking down on freedom. So here is where we can be free. This is where we need to teach these babies that they can be free as they want to be. Y'all stop cussing at your babies. They're the most precious vessels that you can have. They're so smart, imaginative. Make sure you nurture your baby's imagination. Don't take it from them. Make them be creative with their imagination. There's nothing like a joy of teaching a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old, 5-year-old something new and seeing them get that thing. This is what fathers miss by running away from good children. Ain't no perfect manual on fatherhood, bros. Be in these babies' lives. Some of these children are wonderful babies. And I love them because they just so nobody is this truthful as a child. Because like I said, okay, and I'm still getting through this, y'all. Check this out. I used to get like real anxiety. And I still do in some cases. When children. Because they're gonna look at you. And I walk, my cerebral palsy, I walk a certain way. But I'm getting better in my 4.0 how I explain because sometimes people treat you like you're on display, like Oda Binga. People treat you like you Oda Binga. And like I said, it's a lot. So sometimes the child say, "Why you walk like that?" And you get tired of even my grand, to hear my babies, that bothers you because you could. I'll tell you if you have a physical condition. I can't speak for everybody, like I said, but I'm sure I would get some agreement. You're gonna get to ask this same question over and over and over, every time, often in your life. You're gonna get asked this often. Why do you walk like that? And sometimes it's just you don't deal with it. So the part that I would go through, I would walk away so they wouldn't see me because it makes me embarrassed by myself sometimes. But I got to grow through this. I'm growing through this. So but I met some wonderful children that didn't even care. Children are gonna tell you the truth. Your breath stink. Children gonna tell you your breath stink, and we should always nurture that. Make them strong. Make your baby strong. Have fun with them. Play with your babies. Let us be children. And I do that. My little baby, she's also 3. And my little grand, she's 3. And she has she's like learning her colors. And when you watch children share in their soul, sometimes children are children, but when children are clicking, how they just share with each other, how they look out for each other. She loves her brother, so she says, if she got juice, she want to make sure her brother got juice. That ability. And that's how we have to be. We got to make sure our brothers got the juice. We got to make sure our sisters got the juice. So stop all this. I'm going to end it on this. Stop all of this anti-woman, anti-human woman hater. All men, how you spell man, dog mentality. Come on, y'all. And we ain't got to tear each other down to do it. I'm learning. I ain't going to say I necessarily made, but, I did. I made some errors. But you have to learn about correcting them. Don't be so caught up in yourself. It's okay to be wrong. What's okay is not to just be wrong on purpose and won't be corrected. But you gotta be sharp. So I'm learning, to love. I'm learning to love myself more. Just because I always didn't know how. And like I said, it was a variable of those things, how society treated me. How society treated me. How society told me, I wasn't this based on that. So a lot of times when you have a condition, you may have a lonely life. And because what your image, and what I'm saying, like I always say, your image is not what's popular. So you might isolate you. But I got some wonderful people around me. I got wonderful people around me. I got brothers that just my brothers just because they recognize this powerhouse up here. They see it because a lot of times you say, we try, that's why I said not being delusional also. I know y'all don't see it. I stick out like a sore thumb. So my compliment has to be secure within herself. She has to have what's that? The female Drea Michelle when she said your holiness status can be deleted or something. But she got to be through that quote unquote holiness phase. She has to know who she is, and because sexual energy. These are things we have to master within ourselves in the knowing thyself and loving thyself. Because when we love ourselves, we gotta be careful of the situations we put ourselves in. You get what I'm saying? Because and because here's the thing, like I don't when I get to my point of being financially stable where I'm headed, you don't want I don't want to question why is this female here is because I'm financially stable. You got to kind of know that person love you just for you. Make sense? So, yeah, that's all. Like I said, I leave you in the words I greeted you in. BB48. Love on your people. Love on your children. You got somebody you love, treat them good. Work with them. Call that person up you always been want to call them. And it's just to whoever get this video. But I'm out. I appreciate the time. And if you sat through it, I really appreciate it. And I hope I made sense. BB48, African Liberation for African People.